Hey, good to see you again. King first, then kingdom, then church. That's the order that occurred in the scriptures, and it's a teaching of what Jesus expects from us. So I want to talk about first a little bit. Doesn't it feel great to come in first place? Because it so seldom happens, right? I mean, you dream about it or you train for it, but actually come in first place. And there's only one first place in any event or competition. So have you experienced that? I don't think I have, but it must be exhilarating and rewarding. And, you know, maybe you can understand what it's like to have it be a never experienced event for you. But no matter how attainable it is, it's the promise of the prize that is what motivates. It's the idea. We all compete, but only one receives a prize. And so you head for that prize and that place of standing. And Paul talks about that a little bit in 1 Corinthians 9. I love this passage. Don't you know that everybody who runs in a race, everybody runs, but only one receives first place. Only one receives the prize. Run in such a way that you may win. Everyone who competes in the games exercises self-control in all things. So it's a picture of the preparation and the execution and the follow through of all of it. So everybody who competes in the games exercises self-control in all things. And they do it, whether you're in the Olympics or some kind of a sport or whatever, they do it to receive a perishable wreath. So whatever the trophy is, whatever the honor you get, well, it's going to last only probably for your lifetime. What's it going to mean to your kid or to your grandkid, right? And so we don't aren't just going for something that's perishable, but something that's imperishable. So Paul says, I run in such a way, not as without aim. I know where I'm going. I know what the finish line looks like. And I box in such a way as not beating the air. So he kind of looks into a different aspects of the games or competing in the games. And he says, I discipline my body and I make it my slave so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. So it appears that self-control is the key. Focus, diligence, like somebody would experience if they were going to prepare for a race or for a marathon. So that's the backdrop that we're talking about here when we talk about first place. But uh, what about the ultimate first place? Is that attainable for only one? No. Jesus has attained it, but that first place is a part of what we experience in Him coming to first place. Let me talk about that. Every first place, this is why it feels so good to win at anything. We're emulating something locked into the image of Adam. There was only one Adam, many sons of Adam, many daughters of Eve. But within Adam and within the second Adam, Jesus, we have rescue. And we not only have rescue, but we have the life to come. And he talks about this in real specific terms. And this is Paul again in Colossians chapter 1. And I think you'll love this. This is one of the most focused pictures we have about who Christ really is. He's the Son, and then he's Jesus, and he becomes Messiah. But, it's all locked up into him coming to have first place. So he's the image. There's a list here, an image of the invisible God. Whatever that means. Think about that for a bit. He's the firstborn of all creation. So even before the earth was birthed, the Son proceeded out of the Father. It's actually called the teaching or the doctrine of procession. It's not like he was born in a human sense, but he proceeded out of the Father. For by him, all things are created. So this is something that's not often known about Jesus the Son. He was also there when the world was created. He incarnated in Jesus, the man Jesus, but he was there when the world was made. Both the heavens and the earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. So there are things that are even beyond the heavens or the earth. And those are the things that the Bible talks about being in the third heaven, but that is a different subject for us to talk about later. He's before all things, and in him all things hold together. So the Son, or Jesus, is like the glue that holds the entire cosmos together. He is also the head of the body, the church. Okay, so the church is the called out uh, group of people that come out of the kingdom, that come out of the words of the king. That's the nature of what king first, then kingdom, and then church is talking about. He himself is the head of the body, the church, and he's the beginning. He's the firstborn from the dead. How many dead were there before the earth was created? You don't get the impression there were any, right? Had the angels fallen in that process? Yeah. How many of them fell? A third of them. Were they dead? No. Are they dead now? No. But that's a story for a different time. He's the head of the body, the church, and he is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he himself will come to have first place in everything. This is a huge deal because it is all about Jesus. Everything that God planned related to the earth revolves around his son. And there's a reason for that we're going to look at in a second. It was the Father's good pleasure for all the fullness to dwell in him, or Jesus, and through him to reconcile, bring all things back together to himself, having made peace through the blood of his cross. So blood was necessary to cover the sins of Adam and Eve, and Jesus brought that blood. Through him, I say, whether things on earth or things in heaven. So that's a very key passage in understanding the concept of first place, because the first place that we become a part of is the first place that's already occurred in what Jesus has done by rescuing mankind. It's really pretty amazing. It's when you think about when when it all gets finished, Jesus is going to win the kingdom. He's in the process of winning the kingdom now, and he's going to bring the kingdom, and then he's going to be enthroned over everything, and then he is going to give the kingdom that he has won to his Father, so that everything may be all in all. Again, mind blower, right? So Jesus's whole purpose was to honor his Father. His focus was to always place his Father's will above his own. John 17. Look anywhere in the Gospels as you watch Jesus interacting with the scriptures or with his own Father. Well, it's the same for us. It's why whoever receives this child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For the one who is least among all of you is the one who is great. That's Jesus. That's who Jesus is. He came and was received, and he became the least among everybody. That's in Luke chapter 9, verse 48. Pretty deep, right? We're not living in a very surface, religion kind of a thing at all. This is something that goes to the very core of the cosmos, the very core of the nature of the one who has created us. Our whole purpose then is, as we follow Jesus, is to do the same thing he did, and that's to honor the Father. Jesus is offering us a way to honor the Father. And we find the path of honor by becoming less, which is why I just read that passage in Luke chapter 9. It's all about us decreasing. So I'm going to read this now in John 3:30. He must increase, but I must decrease. And this is John the Baptist, Jesus' cousin. So in all of that, we find out that first place often means taking the last place, taking the least place. And how different than humanity, how different than the hubris of even the angels of heaven to say take second place to anybody. Few questions here that I think you might want to ponder. First of all, how do you and how do we find honor with God? Well, basically we follow what God has done and we embrace his son. That's how we honor God. First of all, he sends his son, and how we respond to him has a lot to do with how we honor our Father. Second of all, how do we give true honor to other people? And we do that, as we just read, by lifting others up, by embracing humility rather than embracing hubris or pride. The third question, what causes us to live an honorable life? And that's why I'm harping all the time on king first, then kingdom, then church. Just because you're a good church person does not mean you are living an honorable life. If you are bowing before your king, living out his kingdom, then you will be an honorable person in the church of Jesus Christ. Those don't necessarily follow each other. Open your history book and read if you want to know for sure. And finally, and this reflects on in 2 Timothy 2:12, what does honor bring for the life to come? And it basically means the more we honor God here, the more we will experience honor in the life to come. So this is the kind of honor that is character based. It's woven with resolve and deep belief about my importance and my worth. Well, what is my importance and my worth? Because I'm Dave, and because there's only one of me, all that kind of stuff. Or is it my usefulness to my king? Is it the way that I choose with my life to honor my king? So perhaps first place requires a humility that more often looks like last place. And that's what we're talking about a little bit today as we think about the kingdom of heaven. King first, then kingdom, then church. Doesn't it feel great to come in first place? I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to joining into what it meant for Jesus to attain the first place that we've been talking about in this particular podcast. If you have any thoughts or any questions about that, you can find us at the number 4 at fourthstream.com. The number 4 at fourthstream.com. See you soon.